I just got back from an 11-day camping trip in the Arizona desert, completely off-grid, unplugged, overlanding, boondocking, whatever you want to call it. It was amazing. My big truck here behind me, I had a diesel heater, worked fantastic, but this one is even better. And I'm going to show you today why it's better. This is the H-Calorie toolbox model because it looks kind of like a little toolbox, and I think that's pretty neat. On top here we have a little recessed compartment where we have a remote control. This thing here is pretty good. A lot of you guys were worried that I might get carbon monoxide poisoning. This thing has a carbon monoxide sensor in it. And a nice little storage area so you don't lose it. And then also it has the regular remote control that you're used to for these guys, but this one here is on a nice long cord, which does not want to go back away one-handed. So that if I take it out of here, I can put it somewhere else. And they even give me this nice extension cord so I can put it pretty far away from the unit. Some cool extra features of the control panel on this one are that you can set the clock and that you can have it come on automatically and go off automatically. So it really didn't get all that cold out in the desert until probably early in the morning. I mean, I didn't look at the clock, but I was fine until probably 4:30 in the morning. And then the coldest temperature of the day was right around sunrise. So like 6:30 to 7 a.m. for sunrise. And that's all I really needed it for. That would be perfect to have had a timer function on the old heater. It's one of the things I like about this new heater. She's also got a cell phone app, so I'm going to show you that later on in the video as well. But first, we got to put this thing together. And it comes with all of these parts. We get the exhaust hose, we get the heat hose to keep us nice and warm, we get that extension cord that I told you about. This is your battery lead to go right onto a regular 12-volt battery system, like your car battery, and plug into the side. I do like that this has the right kind of plug to tell you that it's something about DC instead of the other one. The other one had an AC plug on it. Owner's manual, it is pretty thick, but that's because it's multiple languages. 23 pages of English for us folks over here. This is the heat vent that I can use to create a nice little directional airflow. Muffler to keep things quiet, bunch of assorted pieces of hardware, and hose clamps, feet to get it off the ground, and if you want to plug it into 120 volt AC outlet, they got you covered there too. I don't have any fuel in this thing right now, so I can turn it on its side and start putting those feet on. So if I'm gonna have this raised up off of the workbench, then these will give me that much lift. Looks like about 2 inches of lift. But if I wanted to, I could just use these guys here as regular feet on the bottom. So if we take a look, I can put these little non-skid feet on, or I can put this guy here on instead. I think I'm going to put this guy here on just to give me a little bit of extra lift above the exhaust pipe down there. But it should be fine either way. All 4 screws go in there real nice. Hold those feet in place. I like it. And they give you some self-tapping screws in order to install it right onto the surface of your workbench or mount it to whatever you want to mount it to. Pretty nice that they include this extra stuff. So next up, I'm going to do the exhaust. It'll go right there, as you'd imagine. Hose clamp first. Exhaust hose. Make sure that's nice and tight to get a good seal. Then I'm just going to route that straight up in the air like that. Next up is going to be the muffler assembly, and they did the same thing. They gave you a nice mounting bracket and some screws to mount it to whatever it is that you want to mount it to. Very thoughtful. So I'll put that right in there. But I guess first I should have put in a hose clamp. There we go. And then we'll do the hot air hose. Hose clamp first. And then put it over top. In my last setup, I created this panel to go on where the tailgate of my truck would go if it was closed, but I left the tailgate open and put this in. And then I have this through hole fitting for the exhaust, and this thing kept everything nice and cool. There's actually a little rubber gasket behind here. If this was weatherproof, then it wouldn't let any water in, but I'm not really all that worried about this part of the board. The board's kind of sacrificial. And this part here got really hot, this center part, but this outer part, being a double wall style of construction, if you kind of take a look at it, was nice and cool, and I could actually put my hand on the board around the outside and not burn myself. My last model wasn't weatherproof, so I had to have the diesel heater inside the truck and then shove the exhaust out the back. I kind of wish, because we had fair weather the entire time, I kind of wish that I had the diesel heater on the tailgate, putting heat in and leaving the exhaust out, instead of having the diesel heater in the truck and putting exhaust out. just so I had some more room to play with. This is gonna solve that problem. It's going outside, and I'm gonna cut a hole for the air duct to blow hot air into the back of the truck instead. There we go, beautiful. I need my impact gun, and then I'm gonna use the screws that they sent in, these nice little self-tappers. So I need the right size socket, because these are socket head, and is that it? That is it. Perfect. That'll do. These are self-tappers, but I'm just going into wood, so it'll be fine either way. And so now what I can do is I can have heat coming in from outside, or I can have exhaust going out from inside, and it works either way. Beautiful. And with the 12-volt lead, I might as well hook it up to a 12-volt battery. These things are very easy to make waterproof, or I can do a pass-through cable into the back of the truck. And now we've got it set up in camping mode, and we're ready to roll. They say it's waterproof. They sprayed a garden hose on it for 10 minutes straight, and it survived. So I think that's pretty cool too, because I would like to be able to use this thing in rain or snow or something like that. Okay, so we're gonna do a little time warp thing here. It's a little strange. It rained last night, which for me is the day after I made the video for you guys. So this is gonna show up in the middle, and it's okay. We'll get back to the normal video as soon as we finish the rain segment. So we got everything wet, and she was still plugged in. I had to move the battery in a little bit. So the battery was over there, and now it's over there. But we'll see how it works. Open this up. Well, it's nice and dry in there. Remote still works. Unit's still on. And we're on. So it says HH10 there, and it says HH10 on the display. And it was a light rain, but it was a pretty steady rain, so I'm happy. All right, she's running strong. It's been a couple of minutes, everything's fine, it's heating up. I do have one piece of advice for you, one piece of information for you. So I was doing a photo shoot for the thumbnail, and I put the exhaust down, but that means that the exhaust gases have to rise up to where the intake is over here. So if you're ever gonna set one of these up, try your best to put the exhaust above the intake. And now back to yesterday afternoon when we were filming. It is white text on a black background, so it's pretty readable in person. I'm gonna go ahead and start her up. Long press on the remote. It says H4, H4. We'll let it warm up a bit. Looks like we get a little bit of color on the bottom of the screen there too. That's the fan speed, and there's a couple of other color icons. I can get you some shadow, my big head blocking the sun for you. All right, she's running full now, and you can hear her going in the background. I did hear the fuel pump tick a little bit, but it doesn't seem like it's ticking, or if it is, it's not ticking louder than the sound of the exhaust, which is just kind of a rushing air sound. It's actually not bad at all. All right, time for the old thermometer test. 72. Stick her in there and see what she says. 105, 114, 122. This is on super high. HH10 power rating, 156, 162. That'll keep you nice and warm. Keeps on going up. I'm happy. If you're like me and you're the belts and suspenders type, then you're going to want one of these carbon monoxide detectors to go with your diesel heater. Let me show you. My friend Joe turned me onto this when we were out at Quartzsite. And hi Joe, thanks for sharing this with me. It is a little portable carbon monoxide detector. Oh, before I get in trouble. There we go. Comes with this little belt clip. If I can get it on. That's probably the other way around. It probably goes like this. Don't laugh at me, Joe. Yeah, I'd say it goes like that so you can hang it onto something. It is also magnetic, so it will stick right on the side of the diesel heater. And it is USB-C chargeable, so it's on. It's hard to see, not very bright, but I can read it. And I really don't want it to be all that bright. I want it to be something that I look at when I need to, not something that blinds me all night long. And there is an indoor shot with it calibrating, so it's very readable indoors. It's just direct sunlight. But I'm gonna be outdoors in the sunlight, not trapped in CO land. Telling me it's currently 27 degrees Celsius, 47% something, I'll have to figure that out. My CO2 is 411 parts per million, and my carbon monoxide is 0 parts per million, so that's already pretty good. Got a speaker, push the button, switches between Celsius and Fahrenheit, so it's 82 degrees, 83 degrees Fahrenheit. Maybe we should read the manual. I don't expect much out of the manual, that's why I don't usually read them. Yep. like I said, I didn't expect much out of the directions. There ain't much in there that I didn't figure out just by pushing the buttons all by myself. And yet another USB charging cable. It's A to C. So if you plug this in C to C, it might not charge, because that is the fun part about how USB works. There's probably not the negotiation pin in here in order to tell it to go ahead and charge, so it won't charge because it's trying to be smart. As always, I will leave a link in the description down below for stuff like this. This complements the CO detector that's built into the remote control. So now you've got belts and suspenders. You've got two things that do one thing for you. So you always know that you're safe. Maybe put them in two different locations so that way you can keep track of what's going on. This is my battery monitor for that Red Audio 165 amp hour battery that I got this thing plugged into. And it's telling me that we're drawing 2.2 amps, 29.3 watts, 13.3 volts. And we got a nice long way to go with this thing on this battery. So once it's fully up to temperature and just is running the fan and just a little drip every now and then, it's actually gonna go down in amperage usage. There's 3.4, 2.2. All right, we're searching. Do we find it? Not connected. I don't want to disconnect, I want to keep, there we go. All right, so we are at HH10, which is the highest speed, and that matches what I see on my remote. Let me turn it down on the remote and see if it updates. It does. That's pretty cool. Okay, so that works. The aluminum body temperature, the temperature of the heater inside, 439 degrees. The ambient temperature, 81. It is a little warm right here in Arizona today. And the height is 1,030 meters. Don't know how it knows that, probably GPS off of the phone. And it's in heating mode. I can do mode change, temperature or gear. Ah, okay, let's do temperature. So gear was fan speed, temperature is temperature setting. So it's got a thermostat on it, 61 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's gonna shut her off. Turn it back over to temp, turn it back over to gear, because I want it to run high. There we go, we're on 10. CO warning. CO warning is 350 parts per million. Turn off the heater if it gets to 500 parts per million. I don't know what the safe limits are, but it will give you an alert at 350 and it will shut off at 500. You can dial that however you'd like. That's pretty cool. Set a password on the Bluetooth so nobody can turn the heater on and roast you out of your own camper if they have this same app. Unit switch, language switch, altitude compensation. That's where I got that number from. Timer setting, custom time to turn on or off the device. That's what I was telling you about. That's pretty cool. User help and feedback, nice. So I'll turn off the high plateau. So that's where I got that 1030 from. Let's go back over here, altitude compensation, 1030 meters. So it wasn't reading GPS or anything. I like it. Now I've got it set into H1, the lowest temperature setting, and you can see it's going from 2.2 average down to 1.7, and I can still hear it going a little bit lower behind me. 1.1. 1.7, it keeps getting quieter behind me. All right, there we go. So this is a 165 amp hour battery. This thing's pulling, let's give it a 3. 165 divided by 3, 55 hours of runtime out of this thing, 8 hours a night. Looks like it's gonna last you a whole week, which is what I got out of my last battery, was more than a week when I was running it for 8 hours a night. And I had to have the windows open on the back of the camper there. Nice. I'm pretty excited about this. And then when you turn it off, there it goes. It does do a cool down, clean out cycle for you. So it'll keep on running for a while. If you just turn it right off or if you yank the plug from it, then it just, everything that was in there stays in there and gets all gunky and nasty. These things are totally repairable though. You can go on Amazon and get a full repair kit for these guys and keep them running forever. Another thing you can do is just get a new replacement heater module and then tear this thing down, put a new module in it, repair the other one on the bench, keep yourself warm while you're doing it. That's what I would do. Not to be outdone by the last one, diesel air carp arcing heater. Say all you want about misprinted English, but these guys are working their butts off to get product over here. We're all buying it anyway. Speaking of buying it anyway, there will be links in the description down below where you can get some more information on the H calorie toolbox. H calorie, it's kind of interesting because H for heat and calorie, because in other countries besides the US, they talk about calories in terms of creating heat, where we just talk about them in terms of creating insulation. I don't mean to be knocking on the last heater that I had. It worked fantastically. It did the job. It cost a little bit less. This one costs a little bit more, has a little bit more features, and I actually am going to enjoy the features. Hey, if you're new here, I would love it if you hit that subscribe button down below. If you'd like some more information on this diesel heater, I have a link in the description down below, as well as a discount code if you're interested in purchasing it. If you'd like to see the review I did of the previous diesel heater model, I will leave that video right over here. I'll see you over there.